Heat Kogan, Man Cave Classroom, day 10. Pulled this off of the Regents. They just took a photo, threw it there, right, and had a question to go along with
I
it.
love photographs.
It is pretty good.
Believe it or not, I was an AP photo student in high school.
I do not believe it.
No, I was. I took great pictures.
Oh, before cell phones.
Yeah, no, there's like, remember I busted the word aperture out
Right.
in another video?
Yep.
That's where I learned it.
There you go. Now everybody's a photographer because you have a cell phone.
Yep.
Which is pretty interesting too, because you bringing up cell phones and we're bringing up your photography background. I almost feel that this, if you had cell phones in, what year is that? 1886.
1886.
You'd probably have some selfies.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe a selfie stick did this, but I mean, if we're just looking at this, all right, now it's 1886. If we start off with just what we see,
Well, I would even say 1886. Like, where are we?
Okay.
We're 21 years after the end of the Civil War. That's kind of important to know what's happened to our country after the Civil War. We know the South was completely destroyed.
Yep.
We know the North has become industrialized. And we also know there's a mass exodus of people. I don't want to say exodus, a mass migration of people moving out west. We'll figure out why.
So if we're looking, we have some people here. It's definitely gray. Of course, it's a black and white photo, so that's always going to lend itself to the black and white type of gray type of image you get. But again, I don't see, even if this were going to be a color image, I really don't see, other than the clothing, where you get vibrant colors like lush trees.
Like there is grass,
or,
but even
flowers.
I'm imagining that grass to be very golden colored.
Yeah, it does look a little dry.
Dried out.
I get the sense that it's pretty dry here because I really don't see any grass.
Nope.
Here we have this, it looks like a family here. We have 1, 2, 3, we get 6 people right over here.
Looks like mom, dad, daughter, 3 sons.
What is this?
Almost like Santa Claus.
Right, it really does. No, I mean, this is pretty interesting in terms of homes and structures.
It almost looks
From a
like
material
they've
standpoint.
dug into this little hill.
We would need another angle.
Yeah, it almost looks like they dug into the hill and then constructed some sort of home in the side. Doesn't look like wood though. Maybe brick of some sort.
So the fact that you really don't get a lot of activity going on surrounding it, like this might be in the middle of nowhere or maybe a little bit isolated, I get the feeling that these people at one point in time were living in the East at one point. And then they decided, right around the late 1800s, let's go out west. I get the impression, because we're not looking at skyscrapers, we're not seeing anything that really gives you an idea that industry is taking place. I get the idea that these people are farmers.
Yeah, I would say that, we've got the 2, I don't know if they're horses or donkeys, but they're definitely, I don't know, the ears make me think maybe they're donkeys. I don't know, but they're definitely hooked up to something to pull. My assumption would be some sort of plow. We definitely have a cow on the roof.
Is it a cow or a goat?
I don't know, but it's on the roof. So I'm getting the impression
We
that
need to go to
this
school for
family,
zoology, that's for sure.
that this family's not that wealthy.
No.
These 2 boys are barefoot.
Oh, there we go. Good catch.
Oh, there's a dog. They're barefoot. They've got their table outside. I don't know why. I don't know if it was just put outside for the picture, for ambiance or.
So now you're bringing up their financial status. You don't really get the impression that they are wealthy. So I guess we have to go with why are they there?
Right.
Maybe they lived on the East Coast of the United States
Struggled there probably.
and decided, hey, I want to start over. Because when anybody's leaving a state, country to go somewhere else, usually the conditions that push you, to do that are usually financial, and you're usually looking for an opportunity somewhere else, and usually where you are is just not meeting your lifestyle anymore, or your financial needs or your family needs. And I get the impression that they may have been from probably the South, because we're looking at a farming family possibly. Things weren't going well there.
And you're certainly going to need some sort of motivation to want to leave.
That's a good
Because
point.
it's not easy.
No.
It's certainly not cheap.
No.
To pick up everything that you have, whatever that may be, and move probably somewhere out west.
Now, when we look at out west, we've talked about westward expansion. We looked at the 1840s with the gold rush. We're now into the 1880s. You can kind of still say that westward expansion is still taking place. It's becoming much easier, because now 1869 we have the transcontinental railroads out there. word of mouth, the word of mouth getting to the East Coast, letting people know that there is opportunity out there, is going to probably encourage or get people, other people curious to come out there. That may be how they got out there as well. So we definitely have that they moved out west. Now, when we're looking out west as well, we're talking about westward expansion. We had to push Native Americans off their land, and now that land is now going to be used for people to possibly farm. So now, once you push Native Americans off the land, who does the land then become? Who does it belong to then?
First come, first serve.
Probably the government.
Yeah.
And they're going to want people out there. So,
and what encourages people more than anything else? Free
discounts.
If it's free,
it's for me.
It's for me.
So let's see, what question they came up with this one. Which act of Congress let me put my eyes on. Which act of Congress most directly contributed to the situation shown in this photo? Let's see, we have the Homestead Act. What do we know about the Homestead Act? 1862?
1862, Abraham Lincoln, during the Civil War, Abraham Lincoln was wanting the country to move westward, gave away free land. Was it 100 acres, 50 acres? I forget.
Had to put up a small filing fee, farm it for 5 years,
and then it was
yours.
Released,
and then it was yours. Given what we talked about, that seems pretty good.
Yeah.
So we like that. The purchase of Alaska.
I know Alaska's cold.
1867 it was purchased. They give us the year here, so that's very helpful.
I know it's cold in Alaska. They don't look like they're cold.
I don't see frozen fish, polar bears, anything like that. Maybe when it comes to distracting people, since we're talking about the gold rush, and you did have people. Maybe it's a distractor. The Sherman Antitrust Act. But
yeah, prevented the formation and broke up monopolies.
I'm thinking Standard Oil.
Yeah, I'm thinking Progressive Reform era, which is more the turn of the century.
We're getting into the 1900s.
We know that FDR and Taft are president during the Progressive Reform era. That's much like about 20 years ago.
Theodore Roosevelt.
Right? Franklin?
Yeah, you did. Theodore Roosevelt and Taft. Right.
Yeah. I thought it was just a.
So why we do this together? We hook a brother up.
I've only drank about this much so far.
So we have Theodore Roosevelt, Taft, and of course Theodore Roosevelt was against the bad trust, so nothing there. The Interstate Commerce Act.
I don't even know what that is.
The
Interstate Commerce Act passed early in American history actually to regulate trade in between states. It's one of the powers that Congress has to regulate trade. This doesn't tell me anything about trade.
And originally, Interstate Commerce Act, when you're talking about going from state to state regulated business, we're really talking about the railroads at that point. So who's the winner here? Homestead Act. Yeah, without a doubt. Hopefully you saw this in the Progressive era and you went, no, maybe that's a close one, but it's a stretch.
It's amazing that like much of the Regents is test-taking strategy.
Yeah.
That 9 times out of 10 with the questions, you can eliminate 2 answers off the bat.
Now, we never get people hung up on dates.
No.
We don't. And if that date helped you, that's great. But when you're looking here, this is 1886. Alaska was purchased in 1867. If you knew dates, or you were kind of close, that could have been.
Yeah, but then the Homestead Act was 1862.
Yeah, that's true.
But it's like the sod house,
the
sod busters. That's kind of what I'm thinking of.
And
here.
again, since you're bringing up the sod busting and the sod houses, this was a difficult lifestyle. Just in case you're not walking away feeling that way, this was difficult. I mean, when we're looking at
family's tougher than we would have.
Oh yeah, and when we're looking at the farm life, this was probably a home that you said that may have been built into this hill. Whatever they had, they brought out there, and you were going to make it there. And if you weren't going to make it there, that was it. It was, there's probably an expression that goes along with it. It's just not coming to mind. But I mean, this was, you're going to succeed or you're going to die. Probably a lot of
toil and sweat.
Right. When you're looking at women too, because they talked about, when you talk about tough people, and again, we're looking at probably being isolated. The women of the house that were responsible for a lot of things. And now you have to keep in mind, you're not responsible for making your own candles.
Nope.
You become very good at first aid. You become very self-sufficient. A lot of these things that...
I love that word, self-sufficient.
Self-sufficient, because that's what they had to do.
Yep.
Good picture. Thank you for watching.